Hello and welcome to my channel, Lazy DIY. I'm Tanya, and if you haven't yet, subscribe and hit that little bell so you'll get a notification every time I upload a new video. I upload new videos every week. This wall I'm so excited about. I made this faux brick wall from materials that I got at the dollar store. Stick around, I cannot wait to show you how I did this DIY. I went looking for toilet paper at my local Dollar Tree store, and instead I found these. These are actually faux wood kitchen backsplash tiles, but I'm going to turn them into a brick wall. These are peel and stick tiles, so you just peel off the clear sheet on the back and you just stick them right on your wall. Before you do, you're going to want to do most of your prep work. It's just easier that way. Because these stick-ons are plastic, you're going to want to spray paint them with a primer that's made specifically for plastics. I need a dark gray paint, and I don't have any, so I'm just going to mix some black and some white chalk paint just because I have it around the house. You can use whatever paint that you want. Just make sure that it's not shiny. You're going to want a matte finish. The brush I'm using is flat. It was just easier for me, but any small art brush will do for this project. I'm using a dry brush technique here, and that just means that you wipe most of the paint off the brush. Just make sure it's nice and dry, and then just work it back and forth in between the crevices. And go ahead and get nice and sloppy here. We're just putting in some gray so that we can provide some depth once we paint over it with white. For this next step, I'm using DAP Premixed Stucco Repair from Home Depot. With a putty knife, I'm covering the entire tile. This stuff is really gritty, so it's going to give us that texture that makes this plastic tile look like brick. Gently run your fingers through the grout lines, and then take your putty knife and just kind of drag it through each of the lines so that you can define the bricks and allow some of the dark gray to show through. I used Glidden flat paint in commercial white, and you can use whatever you want, but I really wanted it to look like a real brick, and that's why I used the flat paint, because I wanted some of that texture to show through. Make sure you use a junky paintbrush for this because it's kind of like painting sandpaper. I got mine at the dollar store and it really tore it up, so it's worth $1 to just throw it away. Once your tile's finished drying, it's really easy to put these on your wall. You just pull the backing off and stick them right on. No problem at all. If you need to cut any of your tiles, I found it was best to use spray glue. You just open up the tile and spray it right in and hold it down for a second, and then you can just put it up as normal. If you don't, it tends to puff up a little bit, and on the right-hand side where I first started, there's some puffiness because I didn't figure that out until later on in the wall. To cover up all the tile lines so that this looks like actual brick, I'm using caulking that I got at the dollar store. You'll need a caulking gun as well, and I don't know if they have them at the dollar store. I got mine at Home Depot. They're only a couple of dollars. Even though you'll be doing this to your tiles while they're on the wall, I wanted to show you this way just to make sure that you could see it. First I drag a bead all the way down the seam, then I gently run my finger over it just to smooth it out. Now we want to build up the bricks so we can hide the seams. I used as much extra as I needed, just rubbing it back and forth over each individual brick, just to try to even it out. It's not going to look great at this point, but don't panic. We're going to go over it with 2 more layers, and by the time we're done, it's going to look like real brick. It's a process. Just trust the process, and at this point, just try to get it as flat and evenly distributed as you possibly can. And by the way, just in case you're not already following me at Lazy DIY on Facebook, you probably aren't aware, this DIY project is part of a bigger project, YouTuber Cameron Domasky's Extreme Small Bedroom Makeover. So if you're not familiar with him, I will link his information in the description box below so that you can go see him immediately because you're missing out if you haven't. And also you're going to want to make sure that you subscribe and hit the little notification bell so that you can be alerted every time I upload a new video for this project, and so that you can see the final reveal when it's all finished at the end. Because you'll actually be doing that last part of the process on the wall like so, you're going to want to put down plastic or newspaper or cloth because you will get stuff dropping all over the floor. Once that dries, we're going back to our premixed stucco repair, and we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to go over all of the bricks and try to define them and fill in so that we can level them out. I'm using my petty knife or spatula or whatever you want to call it to just kind of pull the material over the rest of the brick so that it kind of hides the seams. And then I'm going in and defining them by just using the edge to go through the grout lines and give the bricks more definition. We're almost done. We just have one more step to go, and it's really starting to look like a brick wall, right? And I cannot believe how easy this was. There's just a few steps that you repeat. There's no skill required. I mean, if there was any skill required, I would not be able to do this. The last step is painting with the same commercial white, and that's it. I brushed it on a little thicker in certain places to help camouflage the seams, and I brushed lighter in other areas so that I could really let the texture come through, because I think it makes it look more like realistic brick. Honestly, I am blown away that this is a dollar store DIY. With the exception of the mistakes that I made on the right-hand side when I first put the tiles up, if I had known to use spray glue in the beginning, it would be, I think, the best DIY I have ever done. And yours will be absolutely perfect because I made all the mistakes for you. That's why I call my channel Lazy DIY, because you can do it the easy way the first time. This is exactly what I wanted, this narrow urban brick. It's so in right now. As you can tell, I am really proud of how this turned out, but let me know what you think in the comments below. If you would have done anything differently, or if you plan on putting one of these in your home. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit that little bell so you don't miss any more amazing DIYs. See you next week.